Hi, Nicole. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Great. Loved your film. First off, Cincinnati. I know very little of the city. Why was that a perfect location as far as the inspiration, creative and life inspiration for you as a writer?
I mean, I'm from Ohio, born and raised, Southern Ohio, and it really, uh, my first film, Holler and Dandelion, started out as a story I wanted to tell about three different women from Ohio, from similar backgrounds, but who are very different, and their experiences with class in Ohio and charting kind of the dreams and desires of three different Ohioan women. And I could never crack that as a film. So I made Holler and then I made Dandelion, and there will be a third. Won't be what I make next, but there'll be a third. And I really see it as it's my Ohio women trilogy. And they make sense in my head together. If you were to watch, I think both films back to back, you'd see it. So that's kind of how it came to be was okay, I was in my hometown of Jackson, Ohio. Now let's go to Cincinnati, Ohio. And then the third one will be in a different part of Ohio.
I think the only complaint would be regarding that cinephiles who really love your films will probably want the trilogy right around the corner. You're saying probably maybe 2 or 3 years down the line. I think if all goes well, Nicole, for you.
Maybe. I mean, I know I'm not gonna make it out of that one at a super high budget. It's gonna be made in the same way I made my first two because I love working that way. There are other films I want to make and I would love to make, I want to make them at a higher budget. But I will say no matter where I go, and if I am so lucky to, get even like a $10 million budget someday, the third one won't be made that way. It needs to be made in the spirit of the first two. And what I can say about it is it's about age and a much older woman. So when you look at these three women together, you have three very different women from Ohio and very different experiences. I just don't feel quite ready to make that one right now.
I really love Dandelion because it has a very realistic and passionate approach to how one gets to live with their dreams. Can you just talk about writing that? Because was that very hard to actually create? Because a lot of these movies about following your dreams, they're just so cliched, and by the end, you feel good and you forget about it. This is sort of
Yeah.
having that waking dream and actually living out your dream and realizing a lot of your dreams are steeped in reality, the harshness of reality. Can you speak to that regarding your film? So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. Yeah, when I watch a lot of music movies or hopes and dreams movies, the dream comes true in the end, and the person is a massive star at the end of 90 or 120 minutes. And those films feel good, but they also leave myself and I think a lot of musicians feeling like losers. I live in Nashville and I am constantly surrounded by struggling musicians. I'm a filmmaker in a music city, and I am always around struggling musicians who are servers, who are hairstylists, who are dog walkers. They have all these day jobs and they go on stage and they are rock stars, and then they go home and they are servers at high-end restaurants to make ends meet. And that is the real life of an artist. And I was like, but how do you make that and make it hopeful and keep people's, energy and hopes and dreams alive and not make it this bleak, sad movie? And Dandelion's a movie that you're going to watch and you're going to feel really good and inspired in the end but it's real and it's about staying in the process, and who cares about the results? Finding your joy as an artist in the process of doing your thing. And I think that's such a happy, joyful movie to watch.
I was looking at a whole bunch of interviews, and KiKi and Thomas are so behind this film. There's just offhand remark that Thomas talks about how he really felt he was able to express himself as
Yeah.
an artist, and I just I hate the
Isn't he
patting you back
great?
question, but
Isn't he
I, and the
great?
mo yeah, he's so I didn't
He's so
even
great in this
recognize
film.
him.
They both are.
I'm
Yeah, that was the
Yeah, they
goal.
both are, but
We didn't want you to recognize him, and he was so down for that.
yeah, how did it make you feel to I don't I'm sure he's probably said that to you even before, but just in the moment with another journalist to say how much he really, it just felt really personal for him. How does that make you feel? Because I'm sure KiKi has echoed the same sentiments to you. So,
It makes me feel really good that he said that because I really believe in him as an actor. I mean, he's one of the best actors I have worked with. I've only made two films, but he actually reminds me quite a bit of Jessica Barden, and this other actress, Grace Kaiser, I've worked with. And Jessica Barden, who absolutely carried Holler, is phenomenal. And she's so down for independent film. And Thomas is so down for independent film, even though Jessica Barden had been doing independent film since she was a kid in Britain. This was Thomas's first independent film. And he embraced the process. He didn't show up like, where's my trailer? Where's my designer clothes? Where's my whatever? Where are the luxuries? He didn't show up with that attitude. He knew what it was, and they both showed up every day and gave 100%. But because Thomas had never been in a film like this, had never worked this way, I had a lot of reservations around him. But his audition remains one of the best auditions I have seen as someone who's only made two films but has watched hundreds of auditions between both of my films. It was the best. It was just he it, he wanted it so badly. He put in the work and he really committed to this character. And I think just no one had given him the shot to be in a serious film like this. Like no one had really taken that shot. Um, and I love taking those shots. I love the discovery of finding an actor. And he's not like a new actor, but finding an actor who can show a completely different side of themselves. And I really, really hope he gets more attention on this film. I really, to me, it's a breakthrough performance.
and with respect to, I love the Old Guard, and KiKi was just finished shooting the Old Guard 2 before coming onto your film, but I think
Yeah.
this is a real expression of, it seems to me, to who she is, coming from Cincinnati, and actually you guys having that kind of dialogue of same places, same locations. How great was it to collaborate with her? And I love the music in this film because, can you speak to that? Because it doesn't harmonize like other movies. Like, once you actually see two different people who are trying to meld, but it often doesn't work because they're different. But the music that comes out is very beautiful too, as well as KiKi's own music. Can you speak to that whole collaboration? It's amazing.
Yeah, it was, the music was there before the casting, and it was always intended that we will, whoever is cast, we're going to bring their voice into the music, and they can sort of do their, do a little bit of rewriting on a couple songs. They can do, add their flourishes to it. It was the plan, and we definitely made that space and let KiKi do that with Over the Rhine and River, in terms of especially on River, just in terms of the sound. And I think she had in the beginning, uh, the songs are not intended to be good. It's like how do you tell someone, let's write songs that aren't very good? They're
Yeah.
catchy, but they're not very good. And so they're not complex songs. And so you have like a really talented Dandelion in the beginning. And yeah, like she has a beautiful voice, but she's not digging into these songs. And then, and because if she were and they were amazing, people would listen. Like, and there is an element of maybe she's not there yet and they're not listening. And so then she meets Casey and this new voice kind of forms. Like she takes on a little more of, his style. And then by the end, she takes all of that and finds a voice that is authentically her own. And I think a lot of bands and musicians can relate to that. I relate to that as a filmmaker that, you know, albums are films and films are albums. I think of them like that. And maybe in musician speak, your first album's good, but maybe on your like third or fourth album, oh, you found your sound. Now we're really rocking. Now people are paying attention. And I see Dandelion's journey being that.
Well, one last regarding the journey, one last quick question. Just I can't wait to see Holler, by the way. And after watching Dandelion, it really feels that this comes from a filmmaker who really has a very soulful way of storytelling, and it means that movies mean a lot to you. So right off the top of your head, can you just pick one movie for our listeners that means a lot to you personally, which inspires you to actually be a very layered and honest storyteller?
No, thank you. Oh my gosh, I am such a cinephile. I live and breathe cinema. It's my church. Like when I go see, I watch a movie a day. I really do, and it's as close to me as like pretentious as this may sound to some. When I watch a movie on my big screen in my house or I go to a movie theater, I get to go to church for 90 minutes. I literally worship movies. It's I'm more fluent in cinema than I am in English. So for me, Splendor in the Grass by Elia Kazan is one that does it, and Hiroshima Mon Amour is one. Yeah, by Renee. I those are the two for me. Hiroshima Mon Amour. If you go back and watch it, there's actual shots in it that are like where the composition is exactly what it is in Dandelion.
That's amazing. And very quickly, Splendor, because it's sort of, again, going back to the realism, as beautiful as it is, it's very realistic in the storytelling too. Is that one of the reasons why you mentioned Splendor?
Yeah, but it's also, yeah, you're seeing things that they're real, but they're still so beautifully lensed and they're so observed and textured. And the film, God, Splendor in the Grass, that ending when she walks down with the white dress at the end, and Natalie and Warren Beatty, and they don't end up together in that particular film, but and it's so beautiful and heartbreaking. And she recites that poem, Splendor in the Grass, and it's just it's a they will be connected for all of time, and that Deanie and Bud in that film
Mm.
needed each other. They needed to almost be they needed that high school romance. They needed to be two ships passing in the night, and that they would be completely different people had they never met, but they're not going to be together. But in a way, they'll always be together. I love the poetry of that film. I love how it blends romance and grit and joy and dark. I can't, I love it. And that was a very controversial film at the time. Movie
Mm.
theaters didn't want to show it because of the infamous, Natalie Wood bathtub scene.
Yeah. Well, Nicole, thank you so much for your time. Speaking of poetry, love the poetry and reality of Dandelion. Thank you so much again,
Thank
and
you.
good luck moving forward.
Thank
All
you,
right. Take
Greg.
care.